Sometimes the hardest part about all of this is being limber and getting in these tight spaces. I'm losing my voice. Sometimes patience is a virtue. Hey guys, Ben Goheen over at the Neighborhood Plumber. We got a fun one this afternoon. We're gonna put in a dishwasher for a customer. Should be a pretty straightforward project. We're gonna get in here, turn the water off, disconnect a couple things, pull the old one out, get the new one in, get everything turned on. All in all, should be about a 30-45 minute project. Let's get in here, see what we got, then we'll unload this dishwasher, see what the customer thinks about it. All right, so let me show you this drain connection we got. So we're gonna disconnect that band, we're gonna disconnect that gasket from the copper adapter, and we're gonna pull that drain out. So we'll pull the dishwasher drain, the dishwasher supply line. We're gonna go down to the basement, kill the power, and then we'll start pulling this dishwasher and getting our new one hooked up. Here we go. All right, guys, we're gonna turn this breaker off for a multitude of reasons. Plumbers don't like electrical, but I also don't wanna be shocked. So I always recommend turn the power off right away. You don't want to get in the middle of this project. All of a sudden you're like, I forgot to turn the power off and it's too late. You got shocked or some other issue arose. So always good. First thing, you know you're replacing it. You got to disconnect the power. Go ahead and turn the power off. All right, guys, we're going to go grab some tools. Go ahead and bring this mat in. Go ahead and bring our Eastman supply line, drain hose, and power cord in. Again, we're gonna use a 10-foot. Since we've got this cabinet space, we wanna pull this out and not have to have things disconnected should we have to work on it. All right, we're gonna grab this dishwasher now that we got our tools in there. I'm actually gonna grab this hot stick too, real quick. So this is a little hot stick, super convenient tool. You can wave it around any live power, and if it's hot, you'll get a red light. If it's good to go and off, you'll get a green light. So we'll just go in here and make sure it's off 100%. Let's check this power and then we'll unbox this dishwasher. So we got the hot stick. We're gonna see if this power is off. And actually, we'll check it with the hot stick below, but the power does appear to be off. We'll get that cover pulled off and then we'll test the power. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this bottom cover off so we can access that power, check our water connection, see what we got underneath, see if this is hardwired or pigtail wired. There's multiple ways to connect a dishwasher. You could have a plug behind it, a plug in a cabinet, and a pigtail running from the dishwasher to said plug. Eastman's got a 5-foot dishwasher power cord. If you end up needing that, a lot of dishwashers, though, are gonna be hardwired. So you're not gonna need a power cord. You're gonna turn the breaker off and direct wire it. So we're gonna get down here and pull these screws out. Try to get us some access to see what we got under here. So right here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but right here is going to be our water supply connection. This little box to the right is gonna be our power supply, and the drain line is prefabbed through the manufacturer, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Quick pro tip, a couple common causes on a dishwasher that you could run into should it be a leak or having issues with it. I want to talk about an active water leak first. Always and anytime, should you have a leak on your dishwasher, you want to open your sink and you want to shut the valve off that's feeding the water to the dishwasher. So should the supply line start to leak, should the drain hose get a hole in it and start spraying water out, you'd want to shut that valve off and cease use on the dishwasher. All right, guys, we are going to get this power disconnected, and it does appear that this dishwasher is going to be hardwired. I'm removing the outlet cover box, and I'm going to expose the wires. So a little thing to think about with electricity, right now we're working with 120 volt power to feed this dishwasher, which means you will have 3 wires, a black hot leg, a neutral, and a ground. So in this case, we want to expose the hot leg and the neutral. We're going to get up and get our hot stick and make sure we don't have any power. All right, guys, so I have checked it with the hot stick. If these wires were hot or live, my stick right here would light up red. So all our wires are good. I'm going to disconnect my hot leg, which is going to be this black wire. And actually, this black wire is what would bring all the power to the dishwasher. Then I'm going to disconnect this white, which is a neutral, and I'm going to disconnect this green, which is a ground. Once we do this, we can disconnect the wires from the outlet box, and we can lay them out here where we're going to need them. All right, we should be about ready to pull this dishwasher out. I'm gonna put these wire nuts back on just for safety so we don't lose them. Last step is we're gonna take all these screws out that's holding this dishwasher in. Save those screws so we can reinstall them on the new dishwasher. And I'm gonna drop my legs down a little bit in here. So this dishwasher will kind of lean forward and not hit anything. Same thing on this side, we're gonna drop this leg a little. Now we should be good to move under the sink. All right, guys, we're gonna get under the sink. I'm gonna disconnect the water. I'm gonna disconnect the drain. And I'm gonna try to get in here where everybody can see. So, right now, we've got this compression valve on this hot water side. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this water off and make sure it's going to turn off. I'm gonna grab a couple paper towels. So when disconnecting the supply line, we are gonna get a little bit of water, and we definitely wanna make sure the water stops. So, meaning that the valve went off all the way. It did, good. So, dry all this up, and now we're gonna move over to this drain line, which I'm going to loosen this hose clamp. Now this thing's been on here for a while, so it's probably gonna be stiff. I'm gonna give it a good twist, twist, and gently pull. We don't wanna break any pipes. Just gently pull this off. We're gonna get a little bit of water. All right, I'm gonna dry this water up. We got this line disconnected. We got this line disconnected. Now both of these lines are gonna pull through my cabinet so I can get them started. Make sure we're not gonna snag. All right, I'm gonna start guiding this dishwasher out. And then since we are coming through a second cabinet, I'll just make sure my lines are guiding out over here. Which we are, but we got it. So we don't scratch the floor, I'm gonna lean up on this with my foot slightly and just kinda let it rest on my foot. I'm gonna slide it out. This drain hose and the dishwasher still have water in them. So when we get in here, we wanna kinda keep this drain hose up. If we let this thing fall on the floor, then we're gonna dump a bunch of water. We don't wanna do that. So now we got our drain and our water up. I'm gonna go ahead and grip it from these and grab the sides of this thing and kind of walk it out to the garage. I'm gonna flip this thing for you guys. That's a good view. If you look underneath, I wanted to show you this water connection. And then here's that drain hose that's the manufacturer. We couldn't really see it. So this is normally installed. You would make your connection up here, which we'll see with the new one. I think it's time to unbox this dishwasher now, so go ahead and get this out of the way. All these dishwashers are gonna have a blanket. Don't think this is trash. This is an old style you wanna keep on. This new style, it's already fitted and fabbed over the dishwasher, but they all should have a insulated blanket, and sometimes they get thrown away thinking they're trash. They are not trash. All right, so I'm gonna make sure everything is gonna fit good. All right, so we're gonna level this dishwasher a little bit, make sure it's gonna fit in there and not leave any big gaps. So I'm gonna adjust these legs slightly, and we're gonna work on getting our water hooked up and our power hooked up. So this water connection is on the back, so we're gonna hook it up on the back. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and feed my supply line through this cabinet and get ready to make this water connection. We're gonna fish this supply line through this cabinet into the cabinet where we disconnected the water and go ahead and get that reconnected. And we can go ahead and feed our drain hose as well through that cabinet. So same thing, we're gonna take our drain hose, stick it through this cabinet, and as we come through, we'll be able to pull where we need to. I'm gonna come in here, connect this water. I can't get this drain hose pulled all the way through until I start sliding the dishwasher back. I'm gonna get under here and make this water connection. So this is gonna thread back onto our stop, and then we're gonna use a adapter that I'll show you to connect to the back of the dishwasher. Then we're gonna take this Eastman adapter. It's got a nice gasket in here. That's that gasket. You don't wanna over tighten, but you want it tight so it's sealing. Just don't wanna cut that gasket. So I'm gonna tighten this adapter to the back of our dishwasher. And we will get this hand tight and then go a little tighter. On this power, we're gonna wanna feed this through the middle of the dishwasher. There's gonna be a little channel where we want this power to be fed through. So I'm going to start fishing it up through, and it's actually not the middle, it's on that far right side. So I'm gonna stretch this power out in front, and there's a little channel here where we're gonna want this power to run through. Tuck this under here. All right, and then the same thing here, we're gonna have a little power box that junction box, we're gonna need to pull this cover off. And then we can get in there and hook this power back up. We're gonna take this off, Phillips head screwdriver. Get that one off. Don't lose your screw. Now we're gonna black to black, green to green yellow, or green to yellow copper, white to white. The white is gonna be our neutral. We're gonna twist and make sure our wire nuts are nice and tight. We're gonna take our ground to this yellow green. The ground could be a green wire, it could be just a straight copper wire. So if it's not green, that's okay. Ground is gonna be that solid copper wire. And then we are gonna pull our black and take our black to our black. I like to twist my wires together slightly. Take your wire nut until it is tight. We're gonna tuck all of this back in here nicely, not to cut or mess up any wires. So we're gonna put this cover back on. All right, guys, we're gonna start pulling these hoses through, get all our slack out, and kind of start getting this dishwasher back. Because we've got to go through these two cabinets, we need to kind of pull the slack out as we go and get this thing slid back where it needs to be. All right, so I got my water through, I got the drain through. We should be able to start finessing it in here. It's a good tight fit. I'm gonna leave this for the customer. So leave that up there. So now we want to close that gap slightly. We want to make sure we're still even, get these in. Oh, there. I want to raise this leg up just a little more. So this particular dishwasher is gonna have dual mounts. So these would be used up top where we're gonna wanna mount it because we have our bracket. But say you don't have this bracket, you've got these screws that can go in to the side of the cabinet. So we could mount this either way. I'm gonna put these plugs in since we're gonna use the top mount. And now we're gonna slide this dishwasher back out a couple inches so we can get our brackets up in the bracket. So these brackets will fit down in here and down in here. So now we can screw it underneath, and you can bend these tabs in with some pliers. So now our brackets are in place, and we're gonna slide this back in place. So I always want to make sure everything looks good where it's at. So a good rule of thumb is to look down the cabinet. Make sure your dishwasher's not sticking out on one side or the other. So make sure you can look down it and it looks good and straight. Same thing on the sides where you don't see gaskets and stuff like that. So we're gonna tuck all this in. So we're gonna take a couple of screws and put some screws into our metal bracket under here. Then I will bend these tabs up. That'll do. All right, guys, we're gonna drop under here, pull the rest of this slack out, get this drain line hooked up, water hooked up, turn back on. We'll check everything and get this cover plate on as well. I'm gonna trim some of this hose off. Get this hose clamp back on here. Gently hold this pipe. All right, now we'll tighten this hose clamp up. It'd be good to turn this water on, so we're gonna go ahead and ease the water on. You always wanna have your valve opened all the way. You don't want a valve not opened all the way. It could cause hammering, water hammer, could cause the pipe to flutter, could cause odd sounds, so you always want to make sure that your valves are opened all the way. So we've got our dishwasher drain connected, we got our water reconnected, power's wired up, dishwasher's installed. We're ready to test it, check for leaks, and put our cover back on. All right, guys, we did it. Let's get this power back on so we can test this thing and make sure that we are good to go. So we're gonna find that dishwasher. When we came down, both of these were off. So we're gonna just turn the dishwasher back on and leave that off. All right, we've got power. So we're gonna go ahead and run through a rapid wash, which will be an express. And we're gonna hit start. And the dishwasher should start running. As this starts to run, we hear it kicking on and that water running through. I'm gonna get underneath, shine with a flashlight, make sure that we have no leaks. It's very, very quiet. All right, we're gonna take a peek underneath, make sure everything is leak-free, no water. We got the dishwasher running, so I wanna get a good look under here. The water connections are in the back, so it's kind of hard to see, but if it was leaking, you would see water dripping out down there. And it is all leak-free. Water's running pretty good. It'll end up going through its drain cycle and pumping water through the drain. And in the meantime, we'll get this bottom cover plate back on. And this cover plate is just a kind of way to cover up all that stuff we see under there. So no special way to install it. Just use the screw holes and a screwdriver and pop it back in place. So I'm gonna clean up a little bit, get all this dust up, clean up for this customer so they don't have to do it. It's always good to clean your mess up, you know. I know the customer probably doesn't mind and wants to clean when we're gone, but I always like to touch up. Customers never forget when you go the extra step. Take your time, clean it up, make it nicer than it was before you got here. Hey guys, I hope you had fun and enjoyed the video. I hope a lot of you guys find this useful. For direct links to the products used in this video, check the link below. It's Ben at the Neighborhood Plumber signing off. Hope you guys have a great afternoon.